Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. I am Fredicia Liburd. Nevis's Premier and Minister of Energy, the Honourable Mark Brantley, joined his counterparts from across the sub-region at the third meeting of the OECS Council of Ministers of Energy from February 4th to 5th at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. This year's meeting was convened under the theme Sustainable Energy, Creating Opportunities for Reinventing the Economy of the OECS.
I can say that for the very first time, St. Kitts and Nevis has determined that the exploration and development of our geothermal resource will be pursued as a national imperative. It is now firmly fixed on the national agenda. Notwithstanding that it is under the ground in Nevis, we intend to exploit it for the benefit of all Kittitians and Nevisians. The economic benefits of transitioning to renewable energy are substantial. By reducing our reliance on imported fossil fuels, we can save on energy costs and redirect those savings towards other critical areas of development. The development of renewable energy projects will create jobs, stimulate local economies, and attract investment. Additionally, the potential to export excess energy and green hydrogen can generate significant revenue from our region, further boosting our economic growth and stability.
Among the important matters discussed was a landmark strategy to drive economic transformation through sustainable energy over the next decade across OECS territories through the endorsement of the OECS Sustainable Energy Roadmap 2025 to 2035. The ministers also reviewed energy targets, including achieving 30% renewable energy penetration across the OECS by 2030, with a minimum of 20% in each member state and 50% penetration by 2035. The Honourable Conris Maynard, Minister of Energy in the Federal Cabinet of St. Kitts and Nevis, presided over the meeting. He reminded the gathering that the OECS is blessed with an abundance of natural resources that can be utilized to combat the challenges of climate change and sustainably power regional economies. Stakeholders in disaster management in Nevis met on January 28th for the third working group meeting for the strengthening of St. Kitts and Nevis's National Emergency and Disaster Management Project. The project, which runs from August 2024 to February 2025, aims, among other things, to develop a formalized operational framework and training plan for the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the Nevis Disaster Management Department, NDMD. The objectives of the workshop included presenting the final results and recommendations of the project by Slimane Benraba of Insight Decision, a global company in environmental consultancy services and platforms.
If we look in a broad picture, the project results, obviously you have these main components, okay? So I would say like the first one is related to legislation to make sure that the acts and the national plans are updated. So this is, I would say, the most obvious one. Then you have the multi-hazard early warning framework. Because nowadays in the Caribbean, you see, not only here but in other countries, that the plans are really focused on hurricanes. But I mean, after COVID, when you look at the storm surges, earthquake, I think it's really important to have a multi-hazard approach. Like not only for natural hazard, but even for man-made, for cyber attacks, these kind of things. So this is also important. Resource mobilization is one of the key feedback here that if you ask each agency differently and also private sector, you realize that there are actually lots of resources, but sometimes you don't know that they are there and you don't have a list. So sometimes, it's really about making sure that you have a good inventory and that you are able, especially for private sector through MOUs, to actually mobilize faster the resources in case of events and disasters. Then, of course, you have institutional capacity, meaning to make sure that you have the right people, the right staff with the right job descriptions at specific disaster management positions. To have a unified national disaster plan for the Federation. And obviously, but here I think you are already mature, but to continue on the public awareness.
Among those in attendance was the Honorable Spencer Brand, Minister with responsibility for disaster management in Nevis and chair of the Nevis Disaster Management Committee.
The truth is that Nevis has to always be ahead of the game. That is just our reality. If we are struck by any natural disaster, we need to be able to be up and running as quickly as possible. Our population demands it, our water infrastructure demands it, NEVLEC demands it, our healthcare demands it, our education demands it. It is just our reality. And for those persons who think that the lack of preparedness is not important, then I hope and I pray that they would not have to live the day when they realize how important preparedness is.
He also highlighted the work of the Nevis Disaster Management Department, led by Director Brian Dyer.
In this room, we have the individuals who are on the front line of our disaster response. And I smiled when I heard the presenter indicated that Nevis has been more responsive. And I believe that that is so because I know Mr. Dyer understands how important it is in the context of Nevis's preparedness and response when it comes to a natural disaster. He understands it and he lives it and he sleeps it, he wakes up with it, and I believe that all of us can appreciate the fact that those are some of the reasons why we continue to be as responsive as we are.
The project, funded by the Green Climate Fund, also aims to ensure alignment and understanding of the next steps among stakeholders for sustaining project outcomes, facilitate the handover process, assigning responsibilities to stakeholders for continued progress, and reinforcing stakeholder ownership and long-term commitment to disaster resilience initiatives. Still to come.
Because recently we were able to lend to St. Kitts not only men, skilled men, but also machinery to help them build roads in St. Kitts. So if you're up in St. Peter's,
the details right after this break.
One of the few places that has an untouched beauty that has captivated the hearts of many. Nevis is everything you imagine.
Welcome back. The Nevis Island administration is investing in young people. That is according to Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, who recently announced that 2 employees of the Public Works Department are receiving training in the United States.
we have sent 2 of our young persons, Andreas Bartlett and Kester Webb, to Lexington, Kentucky. They left on Monday to undertake a 2-week training stint at the Asphalt Institute in Lexington. The period of training is January 28th to February 7th. Mr. Bartlett is a supervisor at the asphalt plant, while Mr. Webb is an inspector of works in the roads division of the Public Works Department. During the first week, they will undertake the basic mixtures technician training course. In the second week, they will undertake the mixed design technology certification training course. Both courses' content comprise of a mixture of classroom lectures and practical training in a lab setting. And this training is fully funded by the NIA.
He also noted that the investment is something to be proud of.
We are investing in our local people. We are developing the skill sets of our local people. And in this case, we hope that that will pay dividends. You know that we have embarked on a very ambitious road program.
where we're building new roads and upgrading existing roads. So these skill sets are going to be critically important to us. In fact, I believe that even our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts should feel proud, because recently we were able to lend to St. Kitts not only men, skilled men, but also machinery to help them build roads in St. Kitts. So if you're up in St. Peter's and you have new roads up there, say thanks to the NIA, that our investment in equipment, our investment in training people has now resulted in those people and that equipment being put to use to help our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts.
Premier Brantley made the announcement during his January 28th press conference. The annual register of voters, which includes the names of persons who were registered as voters as of November 2024, was posted in 2 conspicuous places in each polling division on Friday, January 31st, 2025. Supervisor of Elections Oakland Peets notes that the publication of the annual register of voters is in accordance with the provisions of the National Assembly Elections Act.
All registered voters are kindly requested to check the register of voters to ensure that their names are listed on the register. Any person who claims to be registered as a voter and whose name, address, and occupation have changed or are entered incorrectly may claim to be registered correctly by completing a notice of claim form number 7 and submit it to the registration officer at the electoral office not later than February 10, 2025. Any person whose name appears on the register of voters for an electoral district may object to the registration of any person whose name is included in the said register, and persons who wish to make objection to names appearing on the register should complete a notice of objection form number 8 and submit it to the registration officer not later than Monday, February 10, 2025. Notice of claim and notice of objection forms may be so obtained at the electoral office in Basseterre and in Charlestown. You are therefore urged to be so guided.
Supervisor of Elections, Oakland Peets. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Liburd. Thank you for viewing.